Matthew's drawing our attention to the outlandish, crazy, sinful characters in Jesus' family line. And if you're familiar with Judah and Tamar, here's an interesting, the fact that Matthew would even put this in there, you don't have to, in a patriarchal society, you don't have to mention the mom at all, right? And especially if you're reading through the Old Testament, right, in the book of Genesis, I believe it's Genesis chapter 18, this is the most random story, and you're hearing about Joseph and the coat of many colors and how God works all things together, and you're like, yeah, and then all of a sudden you turn the page and you're like, what on earth is this? What is this? All of a sudden we come across these characters. There is Judah, who is the father-in-law. Tamar marries Judah's first son, and he dies. He's wicked. We can go into that, but I'll save you the details. She marries his second son. He dies, right? And so he has one final son, and he does not want her to marry him. And so, and keep in mind, at this time, marriage was your social security. Marriage was your food stamps. Marriage was everything. You needed that protection, that oversight. And Judah withholds from her his final son. He's not going to provide for her. He's not going to take care of her. He's going to neglect her. And so she comes up with a scandalous plan where she dresses up like a prostitute, sleeps with Judah, and basically takes the Old Testament equivalent of like his license. And then when it comes to light that she's pregnant and this is a scandal, and Judah says, hey, we gotta punish her, we gotta stone her, we gotta put her up to public ridicule, and everyone crowds around, she says, you know who the dad is? This guy, her father-in-law. This is incestuous craziness. And what's most astounding about this whole thing is this crazy story that feels like it shouldn't even be in the Bible is sandwiched right in the middle of the epic story of Joseph. And so as you're tracing Abraham's family line and you're waiting for the Messiah, you're like, oh, Joseph, he's the guy. It's going to be one of his kids. The line of blessing, the messianic line, skips Joseph altogether. And it goes to Judah through Tamar. What on earth is God doing? And then we continue on. In the genealogy, you'll notice the name Rahab. Now, Rahab is another interesting character, right? And I want you to see what Matthew's doing here, because not only is he bringing up the family dirt, not only is he bringing up the things you want to minimize and hide, but he's also highlighting folks who, in the case of Rahab, are not even Jewish. Rahab is a Canaanite. She worshipped Asroth, she worshipped Baal, or Baal, depending on how you pronounce it, but she was not a member of the family of God. And what is interesting is that there are certain people throughout history and fiction that have a title attached to their name, right? Track with me real quick. See if you can get these. Okay, Alexander the... Okay. How about that? Here's some cheesy ones. Conan the... Buffy the... Jabba the... Rahab the... Prostitute.